Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Drafted Pages podcast. Getting right back into the CG series. I've got our leader today, Josiah, with me. How you doing, man?
Dude, I'm doing good. I don't know if you know this actually, but I had to cancel on Rogan to be here with you.
Wow.
I turned him down. I was like, sorry, dude, I know you wanted me this week, but Nick did ask me, so.
Did I get you first or?
Yeah. I was going to be a first-time guest on both of them, and I was like, I'm prioritizing my guy. So I told Joe, like, we'll get it next time.
Dude, I am so honored by that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That means a lot to me.
You're welcome.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I have the same audience draw that Rogan does, but
you will after this one. After this one, Spotify's calling.
I love it, dude. That's hilarious. Yeah. Again, really honored that you would cancel on Rogan just to be here.
You're welcome.
In this tiny little makeshift studio we got going here.
I mean, you had to. The viewers will never know the slaving away you just had to do to get this going in the first place.
Dude, I've never had this many issues before, and we found a way.
Truly.
And that excites me even more for this episode because the enemy's at work.
That was some spiritual warfare.
There was some spiritual warfare
I've ever seen it.
We were going through before this episode even kicked off. So now we're hot. We're rolling.
We're cooking.
Yeah. So let's get into it. We got a plethora of stuff to cover. First, you're a big Dallas sports or just Texas sports.
Texas sports, yeah.
Hook 'em horns.
Hook 'em all day, Texas fight.
Yeah. And season ticket holder for the Mavs.
Yeah.
We got to talk about Luka. What was walk me through your initial thoughts as when you saw the notification, and now that it's been some time and Anthony Davis has been hurt and is out for some time, how are you feeling?
So I have to come clean. I think Texas sports is a legitimate description of me because first and foremost, my allegiance is to the San Antonio Spurs.
Okay.
Big Spurs guy. I don't think from 8th grade till like most of college, I missed a game. Like I would watch every single game. I was there when they won it in 2014, like in San Antonio when they beat LeBron, and like it was super fun. So Spurs fan all the way, but then Kawhi leaves. The dynasty kind of falls off. Tim retires. Manu's gone. Tony's gone. And I moved to Dallas. So I was like, Luka, I love this guy. Like, I'm a Spurs fan first, but like, I just appreciate good basketball. So I got my season tickets for the Mavs. And it has been a great 4 years of being a season ticket holder. And Luka is the reason I have season tickets. Like, yeah. And so I've got to experience all the fun runs, like all the finals, did the whole thing last year. It was great. So a week ago or whatever, 2 weeks ago at this point, I'm laying in bed at 11 p.m., reading a book, and my phone just starts like dinging. And I don't have social media anymore, so like I had to get someone screenshotted a text or screenshotted the Shams like tweet in this group chat of like 30 people that we have. And which the group chat has not been active in like months. Like no one's texting it, but it really made me laugh. This guy was like, I need to tell everybody. So I saw it and I was like, there's no way you trade Luka for anybody. Real, I don't know if there's anybody in the NBA that I'd be like, okay, that's fine. Like maybe like Giannis, I think I would have gotten over it, or like I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't think I'm putting it on a record now. Unless the Mavs win the chip this year, I'm not renewing my season tickets. I'm taking a stand. But to trade away generational talents, this feels like the window is like really short now. I don't know, with the rumors about his weight and like that being a problem and like injuries and etc. I don't know. It's a little suspicious. I don't know if Mark wouldn't have sold 51% of the team if that would have been the case or not. I feel like that definitely has something to do with it, in my opinion. I don't know. This might just become a conspiracy podcast if you let me go on with it too much. But it's tough, man. I feel like if I was like a Dallas Mavericks like diehard fan, I would feel so hurt, like just devastated. I don't know. Yeah, tough to be a Dallas Mavericks fan these days.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you're trading away a generational talent, like and just getting into his prime.
Yeah, truly.
The weight thing, you could whatever that is, but like, come on, like how you can't like you look at that, and I feel like as a GM with the talent that Luka has, and be like, I'm just gonna ship him off for. I mean, granted, championships always speak the truth at the end, so we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand the pain that you're going through, and everyone else in Dallas is just like it still doesn't make sense.
I mean, we were in the finals last year, man. It's not like we got bounced in the first round.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, AD, great player and all in all, but like, it's not like he's Mr. Dependable on the court that's going to be out there for 82 games a year, as we now know, right? One game in, half a game in, and he's done. And he, like, it truly was the full AD experience, like, 26 points or whatever, like, multiple blocks, like, just killed it. But then you only got him for a half or three quarters. And so, I don't know. Even if Dallas gets fully healthy by March, I don't know if we have enough. We'll see. I don't know. Time will tell.
Time will tell. It always does. It always tells the truth at the end. And yeah, it feels like Dallas sports, aside from the Cowboys, have been on the rise. I mean, the Rangers won the World Series 2 years ago. Mavericks were just in the finals. Who else am I missing? The Stars have been.
Stars are cooking always.
In the West. They were in the finals recently and looking to trying to get back there. I mean, yeah, it's weird not having your franchise player here anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you get a franchise player and you kind of build around them always. You don't really see them getting traded very often. So
yeah, it's a different league, man.
We will see.
It's a different league we live in than it was back then. So yeah, had to get your take on it, being a season ticket guy. But yeah, not to do a hard pivot, but I would love also to get into some faith here.
What a change of gears. That is crazy. That is like just breaking the throttle there.
You gotta warm up a little
Yeah.
and like get some softball questions in there, get the talk going, and then we can get into some hard-hitting stuff.
You're like, Luka, also, let's talk about sin.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, so every time I have somebody on first time, especially someone who's a believer, I love to unpack their testimony a little. And of course, like I'm pretty familiar with it, but you know, just as much as you want to share, as much as you're comfortable sharing, I'd love to just like hear again, like your testimony, kind of like you can highlight maybe two things, like mainly like when you came to know God and like why you chose it and like how your walk with him now looks like.
Okay. I feel like my life is not very linear. Like, 1 second, sorry. There's a lot of chaos in my life, especially the first like 10 years of my life, marked by like relative peace of like maybe 15 years, but still a lot of interpersonal chaos. But grew up in a Christian home, as a lot of people do. But I guess to be brief about it, the two major things that I think have shaped most of my life were, and as you know, I was born with biliary atresia, which is a genetic liver disease. Not genetic, like it wasn't passed down. It was just I was born with a liver disease that kind of meant like maybe he's gonna live to 2, maybe he'll live to like 8, but like we don't really know. So it's just like telling my parents like treasure every day you have with him, and just me being uncertain of like once I had a conception of death, like that it's very real and like present in my life. And the second thing that I think shaped my life, or molded me pretty heavily, is my mom passing away when I was 6. So my mom battled breast cancer from my ages of 3 through 6. She passed away in 2004. So Christianity for most of my like young adult life was a thing that I was like very thankful for. I feel like I've described myself as like the most thankful Christian you would meet at 10 or 11 or 12 years old. Coming from like, I was thankful that like, if I did die, I knew I was going to heaven because death was so real for me. And that when I die, whether that was at a young age or an old age, I would get to be with my mom again. So like Christianity to me was just like a thing that I was thankful for the eternal, the eternal, I don't want to say reward, but like the eternal prospect. And it wasn't something I thought about like in the day to day. So it didn't change my life at all day to day. I was thankful that I was going to go to heaven. I was thankful that I was going to be with my mom. I was thankful that I wasn't going to hell, but it didn't change anything day to day of my life. And that kind of was a reoccurring theme from like young kid, maybe like 8, 9, 10 years old, all the way till 25. So like a year and a half ago. Yeah. I think another big thing that shaped my life is like I was in a relationship from 18 to 25, the same relationship. And so my whole adult life, like through college, was spent with this one person. And we just didn't do it right. Like there was an awareness of Jesus, but it was just that. Like it was just like a knowledge of Jesus and nothing more. Again, like it didn't change. Jesus never changed my life day to day. So it wasn't until some events transpired in in the late 2023, early 2024, that I realized like there was actually a message at Watermark that I talk about all the time that like truly changed my life. It was one of those messages where like we both walked out of that, my ex and I walked out of church that day and both like realized like, oh, we need to break up with each other. Like it was that convicting of a message.
Wow.
Yeah. And, sorry, getting hot.
Yeah. It's getting steamy up here, right?
Hot. Yeah, man. Walked out of church that day and realized we needed to end things. It was a passage out of, I actually pulled it up for you. Do you want me to read the verse?
Let's do it.
All right. As you were slaving away trying to get it cooking, I was like, I feel like you're going to bring this up, so I'm going to bring this up. So it's a verse out of 1 John chapter 3. It starts in verse 9. And it says, "No one born of God makes a practice of sinning, for God's seed abides in him, and he cannot keep on sinning, because he has been born of God. By this it is evident who are the children of God and who are the children of the devil. Whoever does not practice righteousness is not of God, nor is the one who does not love his brother." And so, man, we both walked out of that relationship, or walked out of that sermon, and realized that relationship was making a practice of sinning. It wasn't like things were happening and we were like repentant and wanted to change and like, et cetera. It was just like that relationship was a practice of sinning. And I'm not trying to make the relationship sound like it was horrible. Like in a worldly sense, that relationship was incredible. Like in that worldly sense, like we didn't argue. We had everything we should. We were happy. But I think there was this inner turmoil of like, what am I missing? Like I have all the pieces that the world says I should want. Like what is going on here? And I think we would both say it was just like there was just sin at like the root of the relationship, and we were just not being cognizant of it at all. So that's when the whole regen thing happened and became an actual member at Watermark, decided to get in a community group, like do the whole thing. And so my life for the last year and 2 months has looked a lot different than the last most of my adult life. But yeah.
Wow. Thanks for sharing, dude.
Dude, yeah.
I can't even imagine what it must have been like as a young kid, like growing up with the liver problem and then realizing like, wow, like my time here is finite. Yeah. Like,
yeah.
And I know, but like maybe clue everyone else and who's listening for the first time getting to know you, like what kind of happened like there?
Like medically?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
if you're comfortable.
No. Yeah. It's almost hard to explain cause I don't know it too well, but from what I know, you have bile ducts in your liver or near your liver, which connect intestines to liver, I believe. Bile is like what gives, this is gross, but it gives like it's what gives stool color. It's like getting rid of all the toxins in your body. So when you see like someone really jaundice, it's because like when they're very yellow, it's like that bile is just like in their body. And like that's when, so like when you see a jaundiced baby, or like someone who has liver disease when they're in their like as an adult, you see them like very yellow, like their appearance is yellow. So that's what kind of happened with me. And they did a surgery when I was less than like 6 months old to mend my liver to my small intestines, which then like connected the two, and I was like, my liver was able to function relatively properly. Fun fact, we later learned that Josiah means the Lord mends. Yeah. So pretty cool that happened. God's just always kind of been working. But yeah, my liver and small intestines were mended together properly, and was relatively healthy. But we always kind of knew like he was going to need a transplant eventually. They didn't know when. They were hoping to do it before puberty, because apparently there's two separate transplant lists. There's a pre-pubescent one and a post-pubescent one. So I have a good transplant story. Can I share it?
Yeah.
Okay. So December 24th, 2007. Christmas Eve, 2007. We are driving to church to go to Christmas Eve service, as one does. And I had been on the transplant list for maybe 3 or 4 months at this point. And if you know anything about the transplant list, like people are on it for years sometimes. That's why they put me on it when I was, what would that be? I was 9 when they put me on it, hoping that I would get it in the next 3 years before puberty kind of like really sets in. So they were expecting me to be on it for 2, 2.5, 3, 4, extended period of time. I've been on it for 4 months at this time. And we're going to Christmas Eve service, and I just had this weird sense, like it truly was the voice of God. And I felt him basically say like, hey, prepare to get your transplant soon. And so I looked at my mom, who was like, we were about to get in the car, and I was like, hey mom, I feel like I'm gonna get my transplant in like a day or two. Like, I don't know why. And they were like, dude, you've been on the list for 4 months, like calm down. Like you might get it, maybe you won't, but like it's early still. So then Christmas Day happens. I got my PS3 that year, and I was like, this is could not be a better Christmas.
This is the best thing ever.
This is truly the best. Yeah, I got Madden, and I was like, I'm rocking. And then the morning of the 26th, my parents get in my bed, wake me up, and they were like, hey, we just got a call from Dallas. You're getting your transplant. And I was like, I knew it. I called it. Like God told me. And so we flew to Dallas that day, and I got my transplant. 12 hours later, I had somebody else's organ inside my body.
Wow.
Pretty crazy.
That is crazy. That's a beautiful like Christmas.
Truly. Yeah, it beats the PS3 just by a little bit.
Just a little.
Just a little bit, but
probably didn't feel that way as a kid, especially post-surgery. You probably were like, I'd rather just be playing PS3 right now.
Dude, it was brutal because I like was in the Dallas hospital for like 2.5 months. And so like I was like, can somebody please just give me my PlayStation?
Someone bring it.
Please. I'm trying to play some Madden right now. But we finally got home, and that was a sweet thing waiting for me when I got home. But yeah, man, medically, life is weird. Life is really good now, medically. Like I'm medically sound. Like the liver is getting checked on every couple of months. The numbers look good. There's definitely some like side effects with the medications and stuff like that. But the medical issues definitely give me perspective on life. Like the awareness of death is like definitely a motivator to be like, dude, you don't have time to waste. Like you gotta, not just like time to waste to like, not just like in a monetary sense or like in a sense of like gain, but like, man, for like God's kingdom, you gotta go. Like you gotta live in your purpose like today, because like you don't know that tomorrow's guaranteed. And that's the reality for everyone, right? But I think when you experience like closeness to death, it's like, oh no, it's like it's actually like that. Like you gotta go. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that, I mean, like what you said right there is so hard to grasp for so many of us, even myself. Like I haven't, I've had a few moments in my life where I've been like, man, I shouldn't be here anymore. And for some reason or another, I am still walking by the grace of God. And then it's like, yeah, like you've had it on a whole nother level, the closeness and the reality. I wanted to ask on top of that, like, I know you as a really friendly, positive person, but someone without knowing this about you, like the struggles you've had medically, growing up as a kid, not probably not living a normal life as a result throughout your entire life, losing your mom at such a young age, like having that relationship for so long, and then breaking up, and then everything that transpires afterwards. It's like, why do you like still believe there's a God? Why do you like hold so strong to your faith? Like with someone who's been going through all of that, I just feel like you'd give up, right? Like the natural person listening would just be like, dude, I'm just gonna like this life, like life sucks. Like I'm just gonna go out and party and have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Hope is a funny thing. Like hope, I think, is I've always viewed hope as like it has to be a renewable resource. Like it can't be one that's like finite, that you just like that it just dwindles down and dwindles down and dwindles down. I think you have to view hope as a renewable resource, and I don't think anything in this life is going to renew the resource of hope like Jesus will. I've tried other things, and they have momentarily like sufficed and given me like, I wouldn't say hope, but like momentary pleasure, which I think most of the world has, right? Like most people have. But I also don't want to make it out to be like some like pity party for me of like, oh, I had this happen, and like people have hard lives, like, and I don't think it just because like some pieces of my story seem a little bit more dramatic than other people's. Like I don't want it to be misconstrued of like poor me type of vibe. Like, it's really just in hindsight, it's just something I can be thankful for. And that like, man, how awesome is God to like get me through this and to like be my hope and be my light in all of this. Like truly Jeremiah 29:11 like has been, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, right? Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future, right? Hope and a future, hope and a future, hope and a future. And I think sometimes people, like, it gets misconstrued of, like, prosper you is going to be, like, in an earthly sense. When it's, like, no, the prosperity and the hope and the future is, like, in eternity. And so, like, having that mindset gets me through, like, today. So yeah, I think the prospect of eternity with Jesus is what like now affects my day to day. And I'm just thankful for that the things that ensued in my like early life have like been a catalyst for that mindset more than anything.
Love it. Well, one more final question on this, because you said it earlier and you just said it again. Eternity with Jesus. You seem so certain that you're spending eternity with Jesus.
Yeah.
Why would you say that?
Man, that question gets asked a lot, right? Especially at Watermark. On a scale of 1 to 10, how sure are you that you're going to heaven, or that you're gonna be with Jesus? That you're gonna be whatever, right? However we want to phrase it on a scale of 1 to 10. And I think for a lot of my life, I wanted to say like 9. Be like, I'm pretty sure but it was always like, I'm pretty sure I've done enough. Wherein like, now I'm fully sure of my answer that I could have never done enough. Like, it is truly just like grace that abounds that is going to be the reason I get to spend the rest of my life with Jesus. Like, it wasn't this like prayer that I said when I was 6 years old, or like it wasn't me like there wasn't some like magical word that I did, but like or magical thing that I said that's like, oh, now Jesus is in my heart and I can like go on and be doing the rest of my life however I want. The reason I'm sure, so we know that verse where he's like, I like built churches in your name, I like donated, like, and then it's like, yeah, but I never knew you, and he like throws him into the lake of fire, like I never knew you. The reason I know I'm going to be in heaven with Jesus one day is because when I die, it'll be like, man, I loved knowing you, Josiah. And I can look back and just be like, I love knowing you too. Like the relationship was there. And it is a relationship that is so imperfect. And I get angry at Jesus all the time and I get frustrated and like I want to go my own way. And it's so easy for me to drift away from Jesus. Like so easy. Like I am truly like a wave, just like tossed. And like if I'm not locked in, like I am just so quick to give my heart and eyes away to like anxious thoughts or like depressive thoughts or just lust, things of this world. Like it's so easy for me to be drawn away from Jesus. But his love for me and like his pursuit for me, like just makes me want to be in a relationship with him. And I just think that relationship, that sanctification process, I see it happening in my life now. Like there's tangible things happening that like from the inside out, I'm being changed. And I'm seeing it happen in a way that, again, like sometimes I want it to happen faster. I'm like, God, come on, like let's speed up this process. Like I don't want to deal with this sin anymore. Can we just kind of fix this? Like just want to wake up tomorrow and be like, come on, we're good on this one, right? Like let's move on. But no, he's so patient with me. Such a good father that is just, So to answer your question, the reason I know I'm going to be in heaven one day is because Jesus and I have like a relationship, like a real relationship that changes my life. So yeah.
Yeah, I love it. And it's the gift, right? It's the something, nothing we can ever do to earn it. It's the gift of God dying, or Jesus dying on the cross and taking the weight of our sins.
And I think that's a really hard thing to rest in sometimes, because like every other thing in life, it's like you have to do something. Yeah. Like there's some like effort, but it's like, no, you couldn't do anything. And like I think a love like that, like an unconditional love like that, is hard for our like earthly brains to comprehend.
It's so hard. It makes no sense.
It doesn't.
Because like you said, everything else in life, like you do something to get something. Yeah. Everything else.
So like I know I love my dad a lot, and like me and my dad are really, really, really close. And when I did regen, and I did confession to my dad, right? I told my dad like everything I've ever done, which is like it was kind of weird, not gonna lie. But after I told my dad like every sin, I mean every major sin in my life, right? Like it would be impossible to recount everything. And he just looked at me and was like, Josiah, I love you so much. Like nothing that you said right now would ever change the way I see you. Like I just want to love you and help you through things. And it's like, that's my earthly father, man. Like how much more so God? Like, are you kidding me?
Yes.
Like, come on. Like, yeah. Like how much more so my heavenly father than my earthly father. So yeah, it's a hard thing to comprehend, that amount of love, because the amount of love I feel from my earthly dad is insane. So yeah, it makes me excited. It makes me like like I'm just like, I want to tell everyone about this amount of love, because it's like, yeah, it's just awesome, man.
That's fantastic. You've been sharing a lot of good stuff in here, but I did want to touch on regen. You kind of teased it there.
Yeah,
it's been a big part of your life.
It has.
Your story. Could you maybe talk about what regen is and kind of how the impact it has had on you over the past few months and even now today?
Yeah, for sure. So let's start with what regen is. Regeneration, or regen, aka regeneration, is a faith-based 12-step recovery program modeled after AA. So 12 steps with curriculum. It is started at Watermark, and now it gets used around the country. Different churches implement Regen and curriculum and have their own groups. So yeah, that's what Regen is. It's a faith-based 12-step recovery program. So the higher power in AA, I don't know if you're familiar with AA at all.
Haven't been.
Not a big AA guy?
No.
You never know.
Maybe.
No, hopefully not. Hopefully not. Fingers crossed on that one. You would do Regen instead.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Hold on. So in AA, they use a higher power. It can be your higher power can be whatever you want in AA. It can be a person. It can be a god you make up. It could be a chair, right? Like the god of this chair. Regen is obviously not that. Regen, the higher power is Jesus, relationship with Jesus. So yeah, it's a 12-step program. It's I don't think I can get all the 12 steps off the top of my head, but we can try. Step 1 is admit. Step 2 is believe. Step 3 is trust. 4 is inventory. 5 is confession. 6 is follow, maybe. There's also like amends in there, reconciliation, regeneration. Yeah, the back half a little crazy, but the first 6 are the like really hard ones. So yeah, I'd love to talk about Regen. Let's see. So I told you that story of I walked out of Watermark and was like, oh, I need to end this relationship. And if I know anything about myself, if I'm being honest with you, is that if I knew once I exited the relationship, if I did not immediately like run to Jesus, I would immediately run to the world, like fast, like really fast. So instead of spending like the first couple weekends like at bars and like trying to do the whole like Dallas boy thing, I was like, I need to just like run to Jesus like hard right now. So I walked into Regen the first night thinking like, okay, you have a porn problem. Like you definitely have a porn problem. That's very identifiable and tangible. Like this needs to get resolved. This needs to get worked on. But like after that, you're going to be fine. Like you're going to kill life after you just take care of this porn problem. And so Regen goes on your very first night, you go in a small group and you say, there's like 75 things, like 75 like struggles, I think is what they call them, to like kind of glance over. And I looked through the list and I was like, I struggle with a lot of these, but like the expression goes, hi, my name is Josiah. If you're a believer, you say, I have a new life in Christ and I'm in recovery from, and what I said that first night was addiction to pornography and anger. Like I think these are the two sins that are like really controlling my life right now. Very quickly I learned it was those two things were effects of way more rooted things, particularly. So towards the end of my Regen, my statement now went, hi, my name is Josiah. I have a new life in Christ, and I'm in recovery from control, codependency, and fear of man that led to an addiction to pornography. So everyone kind of talks about like influential steps in Regen, like what step or steps meant the most to them and what like where they really saw growth. I think you see growth like kind of the whole way, but sometimes it's like accelerated growth. And for me, I just realized it was step 3, trust. I realized in step 3 that I had trusted my again, this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. I had trusted my eternity to Jesus. I was like, eternally, Jesus, I'm going to be with you. I trust you for my death and beyond. I had not trusted my day-to-day life and decision-making to Jesus. I was controlling those aspects. I was controlling the way I spent my money. I was controlling who I dated. I was controlling where I went. I was controlling. There was a lot, and there still is a lot of like things that I was like, I'll give this to you, Jesus, but I'm gonna hold on to this 2%. And so trust was kind of the inflection point for me, where I realized like it was like a fork in the road of like, you either gotta like trust Jesus with everything, or you're gonna trust Jesus with nothing. So I think that was probably the biggest step in regen for me. Step 4, which is inventory, was also pretty big, like writing down all of my, it's broken down into like 6 sin categories: resentments, fears, hurts to you, hurts by you, sexual inventory, and then like an all-encompassing others category. And so seeing like the fears I had, or like the resentments I had built up to people, or the hurts that I had committed to people, or the hurts done to me, that was pretty influential too. But yeah, man. So I walked into regen a porn like addict. Like, I think a lot of guys struggle with porn. Like, and it's almost too easy for me to talk to at this point. Like, I'm not afraid to talk about it at all. But like, it was bad. Like, it was like all day, multiple times a day. Like, it was like talk about something that like had a like a chokehold on my life. To like regen says like, we got to take it 24 hours at a time to like do this, to get past this. And for me, I was having to take it like 15 minutes at a time, bro. Like, it was like, I need you, Jesus, for the next 10 minutes. 'Cause like, I don't know if I can make this. And so I remember the first time I didn't in like a day, I was like, wow, Jesus is like, okay, like, let's go another one, and go one more, right? And so like, there's ups and downs, and relapse would like happen. And I want to be clear that like, it's not perfect now either. And I'm pretty honest about that now. Like, it's not perfect now, but like, for it to go from like a multiple times a day thing to now like once a month or once every 2 months, like, I'm gonna like praise Jesus and celebrate that win. And I think like, when I said earlier, like, I want God just to like speed things up and sanctify me faster, like, this is kind of, for me, feels like the thorn in my side. Like, in Paul, right? Paul has this thorn in his side. I hope it's Paul. Please don't fact check me on this. Right. Please don't fact check me on this. But like lust is the thorn in my side that like reminds me every day that I wake up. Lust is the thing that reminds me like, no, you need Jesus. Like, if not, you're going to fall so quickly. So yeah, man. Regen's been great for the really tangible sin in my life of porn. I'm realizing now that I didn't address codependency as well as I maybe could have in regen, which is hard because codependency isn't as tangible, right? Like, it's hard to quantify codependency. So now I'm in therapy to kind of work on codependency, which has been going good. And also you guys are my codependency therapists and advocates. But yeah, man, regen has truly changed my life. I'd love to, I don't know, maybe you could put my like contact info in the or Instagram handle or something in the description, but I like anybody that has questions, I would love to talk to them about it. I'd love to like communicate with anybody on it. It truly is just been such a catalyst of growth in my life. And there's so many things I did right in regen, and also so many things I did wrong. And so I would just love to give my advice. I'm actually hoping to, I think I may be serving in regen. Yeah, down the road. So yeah, Monday nights, 6:30, Watermark. Come through.
Plug it.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. It is so powerful and like encouraging to hear you talk about what it, like, first off, being able to talk about that stuff is hard, let alone like put it out there for anyone and everyone to hear. Like, that takes some tremendous courage. And I think it shows so much about how God has worked in your life to like help rid yourself of that sin, like dig it up and get rid of it. And like you said, like, it's not, you know, we still struggle. Like, we're humans. Like, we're gonna be susceptible to sin every single day. And it's like you said, it's gone from, you know, 10 minutes or 24 hours to like months. And, you know, like, there's amazing. Like like you said, praise God. But I think it speaks a lot to your walk with God and your commitment to doing that, because I think if anybody's trying to kill any sin, doesn't matter what it is, like you can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out, trying it for a little, like, and then giving up when you fail, because failing and falling back into sin is just, it's hard, especially when it's something like alcohol or drugs or pornography, which like is a drug, like that it's addicting and it's hard to uproot.
I just wanted to, with those tangible sins, like those three you named, something that I had to remind myself, and I still have to remind myself all the time, is just like relapse does not mean Jesus is like not for you. Like relapse sometimes can be a good thing, and like you never want relapse, but like relapse doesn't mean like, oh, you don't have the Holy Spirit, or like you're a failure, or like God's failing on you. Like relapse, I think, can be the thing that again reminds you like, nope, you still need him. Like you were a little comfortable in like yourself. You thought you had like gotten past this, and it's like, no, like you do need him like all the time. And so man, it's just like, it's been great. Another thing that another thing that regen, too many R words, man.
Whoa, careful there.
Regeneration is man, it's just it showed me what living an authentic life looks like one that is just like, this is kind of who I am, like, and I just like there was finally congruency in my life from like who I was like showing to the world and who I was to myself. Like finally what I was displaying to everyone was just like who I am, and I was still like, and I think our community group is just the best example of this, really. But I also saw it in Regen with my group of just like, I was fully known for the first time. Like there was nothing I was hiding. It was all out there, and yet I was still loved in that. And like I think that's what humans desire more than anything in the world. Like to be fully known for your like highs and lows, and still loved in that. And for the first time in 2024, I got to experience that with people that I wasn't in a relationship with. Like they were like, they weren't, like it was just my guys that like, hey, we love you even when you're a mess. I think I heard somebody say that I know true love exists because of my friends, and that's kind of what I felt in 2024. Is like, it wasn't transactional. They didn't need anything from me. They didn't want anything from me. I didn't want anything from them, but they just like, they loved me in the messiness of things. So yeah, man, 2024 has been a year of authentic love for sure.
I love it.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so good. Like you said, like that's what humans desire, like to be fully known, fully loved. Like that's what makes great relationships, like even between, guys and guys, girls and girls, or even like romantic. And when you start to find a spouse, like that's what's really palpable, and that's when it's like real. So that's great. And to touch on like plugging Regen, like I've heard you talk about it the whole time you were going through it in community, and even now after graduation, like I truly see your passion for that, and I just know the Lord is going to use you in like a leadership role to help grow that program and help use your story to like inspire others to sign up and go through Regen, and help others battle whatever sin struggle they're going through.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I wanted to be the reminder that you can be 25 and single and fight porn like hard. Like sometimes it was hard for me to relate to these guys that were like 40 and like were struggling with porn. It was like, dude, you have a wife. Like I think in my head I was just like, oh, wives fix porn addictions. Clearly they don't, because I was in a relationship for 7 years and I was struggling the whole time. But it was hard for me to relate to some of these stories. But like I wanted to be the one you could relate to and be like, oh no, you can be 25 single and like and fight this hard. And so that's, if anything, that's what it is. But to be clear, when I say like porn was an effect of control for me, and like Regen was the thing that showed me that. Like I realized that I was running to porn whenever I felt out of control. Like I felt out of control at work, or I felt out of control in my relationship, or I was stressed about fill in the blank. Like, or I was feeling out of control in my emotions, or I was feeling anxious, or I was feeling depressed. Like porn was the thing I ran to. It wasn't, I did, like, I'd be naive to say that I didn't enjoy porn, but it wasn't like, I wasn't running to porn for porn. I was running to porn because of the effects that it made me feel in control. Even if it was just for a little bit, I felt in control. And so I think just like knowing and like just resting in the fact that like I have no control in life and like that's okay is like what what helped with the growth. So yeah, it's hard, man. It's good though.
Yeah. Man, I feel like we could talk about this subject and topic for the whole night.
I really could. Yeah, I could go on with this forever. Yeah.
So we can. We got about like 15, 20 minutes left.
Do we? Are we ready? Yeah. Wow. We're rolling, bro.
It flies in the room. But you said, I wanted to get to you because you said you came in with some possible questions or topics you wanted to discuss. So I wanted to pass it over to you and see what is on top of your mind.
Okay, so here's my one thing for you, or not one thing. I have a couple, but I think for a lot of the single crowd out there, a lot of them, including me, think like once you get married, it's a wrap. Like everything else is good. Like, yeah, I mean, you might have like intermarital problems, but like, you know, most things are good. So I just wanted to ask you, like, what's something you thought like, oh, marriage will like really help in this one area, but you're realizing now like, oh no, actually it's still hard. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I would say, and being vulnerable, I would say like one of the bigger struggles is still kind of like lustful thoughts and things like that. And like I remember there was a season like through our engagement and everything, like I didn't look at porn. I didn't have a lustful thought in my body. Like my eyes were like so guarded, so shielded, like everything like that. And like now I'm 3+ months into marriage, and it's like I'm still trying to practice that, but I've felt the attack, especially the past month, like in that area. And it's like, dude, it's so real. Like the minute you take your focus off of Jesus and stop injecting yourself daily, like with that, like you said, like 24 hours, like it's literally exactly what you said about like lust is the reminder of how much I need Jesus. It's like when I have those feelings, it's like, man, like I need to get back to like feeding myself with the Spirit and like engaging with it, because yeah, I'm married and I get to, have the fruits of that in marriage. But like there still is like all of the lustful thoughts and sexual temptations out there that doesn't just change immediately putting on rings and getting married. So I would say that like that's one of the big things that's like it's still going to be there. But you just have to do everything you can to like let God be the focus, be the center, and like surrender that and battle it. Like you've been saying, like it's a daily battle every single day.
Dude, that's good.
Yeah, it's
honest. Yeah. It's honest. I think like, yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people just think like, oh, this is going to be easy once I lock it down. And it's like, it might even be harder.
Yeah. I mean, dude, marriage helps, obviously. Yeah. Like you don't have to be absent anymore, but it's not like every single night. It's not like you're going home or your wife's coming home and it's like time to get it on.
You're telling me that doesn't happen every night?
It doesn't happen every night in marriage.
Wow. That is news to me, man.
And one of the big things from Merge, and it's not like I didn't feel this way before, but it's not like pornography has this way, especially with men, of like putting the focus and the attention on like serving men, and like you getting served through pornography, which is like the complete opposite of marriage and like sex in marriage. It's like you're supposed to be like serving one another in that way. And so like you have your needs, she has her needs, and it's like it should be about like, it should never be about like matching one another. It should just be like, hey, like I want to serve you. Yeah. It's like the same way of like making dinner, And so like that's something that you learn through that process once you're married with your partner, about like the best ways to do that. And yeah, it's not just like it's not like the way it is when you're watching pornography and it's like everything's for you.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
Glad you let me know.
Now you're armed with that.
Yeah, let's go. I mean, speaking of service, and I also have a stuffy nose. I hope I'm not just like sniffling.
Dude, you're fine.
So I had a question on like, I have to give you a little bit of story. I have realized that I have come to idolize some relationships, especially romantic relationships. Like when I'm a feeler, man. And when I fall hard. And so I have just come to find that like things that I want to use to glorify God, like everything we do, right, should glorify God, whether that's our work or relationship or whatever, right? Something that I want to glorify God, it's so easy for me to then corrupt and like idolize as my own. So for instance, I think a viewpoint that I've had before is like, thank you, Jesus, for getting me this relationship. I'm going to take it from here. And have stopped trying to glorify Jesus in that relationship because like I got it. Like I got it. Maybe you like provided the way, but now I got it. I did it on my own. So in marriage, how do you walk the line between like, how do you walk like, I don't even know how to say this. How do you walk not idolizing your wife and like in marriage being cognizant and aware to like still glorifying God in your now marriage, even though it's secure?
All right, let me take a stab at trying to answer that.
Did I ask it clearly?
I think so, but you'll let me know.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think one of the biggest ways that Jocelyn and I felt this and still kind of like feel it, but I think we have a better grip on it now, was having kids. And it's like we want to have kids on our time and our control and everything. But that's not the way it should be done. You should be like welcoming the Lord into every aspect of your marriage. And so like we're constantly like praying, like if we have it our way, like we're doing our official honeymoon in September, we have it our way, like we'd get pregnant in Italy. And then
You heard it here, folks.
that'd be perfect. And then like, the Christmas rolls around and we can surprise everybody, it'd be cute that way. If we have it our way, that's the way we would plan it. But we're not like, we're welcoming God into a situation where it's like we're praying about it daily. It's like, hey, Lord, like if you speak to one of us, it's like, hey, now I want you to do it now and like, have a kid now. Like the Italy stuff, like whatever. And so we're like, okay, like we want to practice that and we want to be welcoming God into like every aspect of our life rather than like idolizing one another or like putting our wants, because they're not needs, in the marriage above what the Lord has planned. Because our story, like he brought us together, like it's truly miraculous, and we want to honor him and like do everything like you said that like pleases God and like shows the fruit of his spirit through our marriage. So I hope that
No, it did. I just think it's hard, man. Like that's a good reminder because it's so easy for me to like I would read the Old Testament and be like, a golden calf. What are these guys thinking, man? Like, come on. But now I'm realizing that like, oh, my idols are like so much. Like I don't really have a problem like I think it gets brought up a lot, especially in Dallas, like this like very fast paced like make it yourself culture of like people idolize like work a lot. That's not a me thing. Like I love my job and I do my job well, but it's not like I'm not grinding away putting 70 hours in a week. So I don't idolize my job. I don't really idolize material possessions. Like I don't really care to spend like yeah, I like to spend money, but like whatever. But relationships, man, I'm like, oh, I am idolizing a relationship. Like I'm doing things. I'm realizing that I don't always do things. Like I will think that I'm doing things for selfless reasons when in actuality, if I'm honest with myself, it is selfish reasons. It is like me giving to feel validated or to feel loved or to feel secure or to feel like accepted, when it's like that's not the heart behind like love or relationships or anything. So I'm just wanting to ask you, yeah, like what does that look like in marriage, to like be selfless and not idolize the person? And I think that's a perfect example of like your timeline on children. Like who knows? Who knows what happens?
Yeah, you just constantly have to be selfless, and that even goes like before marriage. It's like a true like deepening relationship. Like once you're past the stage of like, does she like me? Do I like her? And like you're genuinely out there pursuing each other like daily and trying to figure out like, is it going to lead to marriage? And then if you get into marriage, it's stay the same. It's like a constant idea and attitude of like, how can I outserve this person every single day? Like that's
crazy.
That's a way to like ground yourself and like swallow pride and whatever it is. It's like I'm waking up every day and trying to outserve Jocelyn because I know she's trying to do the same for me.
That's such a good way to look at it.
Yeah, it's really humbling when you take that approach.
I'm also glad that you and Jocelyn are no longer in the does she like me or does you know what I'm trying to say. I'm glad you have figured that out at this point.
It'd be pretty awkward.
Just waking up every morning and be like, hey, are you sure?
I mean, I'm sure there's times where she doesn't like me, like where I could get on her nerves and things like that.
Nah, I'm just joking. That's good though. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, dude, so good. Those are the two kind of main things I had for you. It's just funny that how old are you? 26?
Yeah, 26.
Like you're
almost 27.
27 on President's Day.
On President's Day.
Who's your favorite president? Abe Lincoln? The only right answer?
I mean, the political answer would be Abe Lincoln, but I wasn't around for him. So I guess in, like, my time, it would be, like, the 2016 Trump.
Okay.
Because he just got reelected, so I got to see the second round of
Okay, you never know.
But, like, the 2016 Trump kind of kicked butt.
But, like, pick a fun one. Pick someone that, like, I
feel like there was somebody, like, around, like, Ulysses S. Grant.
Dude, solid choice.
I feel like he doesn't get the credit he deserves, especially given the circumstances at that time.
What about John Adams? How do you feel about John Adams?
John Adams, I forget. Is he, like, he's not Andrew Jackson, right? Like, where he's...
No, that is a different person.
Obviously different person, but, like, the mixed reviews on...
Honestly, I don't know. All I know about John Adams is from Hamilton, which I have seen a couple times. I don't know much. I just like to push people about John Adams sometimes. So
weird.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite?
Abe Lincoln. Of course.
Like genuinely?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's so good, bro.
I mean, yeah.
Quick Abe Lincoln story. One time I went to a reenactment of like
him getting shot.
Yeah, I went to
What?
Yeah, hold on.
That's sarcastic.
No. So I was in DC and I went to the theater where he was shot. And they were like, do you want to pay an extra $10 to see the reenactment? And I was like, of course I want to pay the extra $10 to see the reenactment. They were like, it's a live theater production. And I was like, this rocks. And so I was expecting like a cast, like, costumes, and it was going to be like a full production. It was not. It was two old men in their 60s. And there was like six people in the play, like six people that were being portrayed. But, like, all they would do is, like, put on a wig and then, like, do their lines and then take off the wig, run over to the other side of the stage, do the other line. So they were just, like, it was incredible. It was honestly Oscar-worthy, and I'll never forget about those two guys. But, yeah, Abe Lincoln, my favorite. I don't even know how we got there again, but.
I think that's Jocelyn's mom's favorite president.
See, that's how I know you love her, because you know facts like that.
Well, it's because she had, like, a picture of him. I'm sorry if I'm messing this up, but I'm 99% sure it's Abe Lincoln. Had a picture of him, like, on the wall in their house, like a painting or whatever. And it was just like, yeah, Abe Lincoln's her favorite president.
That's
like,
a crazy painting to have in the house.
I was like, all right.
That's a crazy thing. But, hey, good for her.
Patriotic, yeah.
Yeah, love that for her.
Yeah. So, any other hard-hitting questions you got there?
Bro, I have, like, a list of hard-hitting. My thing, like, you know me and hard-hitting questions. I'm never going to. I hate small talk. Like, with a passion. I'll be at the club asking people, like, what their biggest fear is. I know. I don't want to play these. This is why I hate first dates, man. First dates are, how many siblings do you have? Like, where'd you go to school? Like, Just give me a break, man. Tell me about the thing that scares you the most in life. That's what I want to know. What's your biggest insecurity? That's what I really want to know. I don't know, man.
Dude, you'll find at least a good person to continue dating if like you bring up those questions on the first date and they're like match your energy,
Yeah.
right? Like they're like, yes, like let's skip this BS like small talks.
Yeah, exactly. No. You all have to have me back for another hard-hitting, we'll call it hard-hitting questions with Josiah.
Oh, all right, that's got a ring to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you into conspiracy theories too? Because you kind of teased that at the beginning.
Oh, no. Maybe like humorous ones.
Okay.
I think some of the CIA ones are like, yeah, maybe. But like other ones, I don't know. Do you have a favorite?
I got a bunch.
Oh, you said you are into conspiracy theories before, right?
I'm big in the conspiracy.
Can you just give
theory
me
world.
like your favorite one?
9/11 was an inside job.
Okay, I like that. I mean, I don't like that. I hope it wasn't, but
We knew Pearl Harbor was happening. We let it happen.
okay. Do you have any more? You just want to run through?
The moon landing, I used to think was fake for the longest time. I was like, I'm dying on this hill. It's fake. But the more and more like talk about it, the more I'm like, maybe it was real. But like, I don't know. There's still so much.
Do you want to know my favorite one?
Yeah, I'd love to.
I think Mattress Firm is a money laundering scheme.
I'm on board with that. I've seen that clip and research hole. Yes.
And I also think Herbalife works really well.
What's Herbalife?
I'm just joking. I don't know. Herbalife, you never heard of Herbalife?
No.
It's a pyramid scheme.
Oh, one of those like MLM companies.
Yeah, it's MLM. Yeah, but I don't know. I just wanted to pretend I was a fanboy of Herbalife.
Were you in it?
No.
Oh.
Maybe. I was the top of the pyramid, actually.
Oh.
I am Herbalife.
He is.
Josiah Herbalife Gonzalez. Me, Herbalife, Mary Kay, Cutco.
All of it.
I am the top of every pyramid.
And you invented one and just
branched. Yeah. Yep, that's me.
I mean, genius, dude. Genius at 25.
Yep.
25?
25. Nope, 26. I forget how old I am sometimes. 26.
I mean, eventually it just becomes like, how old am I? Like, who cares?
Yeah, you have to think about it.
Yeah. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But, yeah, dude, definitely going to have you back. We'll do that hard-hitting questions episode. I think it'd be fire. And, yeah, keep plugging Regen.
Yes, please come through.
And like I told Kevin, we're going to get the full CG on a round table.
A full CG round table?
Yeah.
Oh, I would love that.
I think that'd be a ton of
This
fun.
is a round table.
It is a circular table.
Maybe we do it on this round one. Do round tables have to be at round tables?
I don't know. I feel like that's a political question.
Maybe that's a conspiracy.
Right?
The more you think about it.
I think it'd be more of an oval with our size, but yeah.
It's because you're too strong, bro. The last thing I'll say is I thought the reason you wanted me on the pod was to talk about how I get so big at the gym. And I'm just hoping people are listening to this on Spotify and not looking at the video.
Well, we had to keep that secret under wraps. Yeah, that's not divulged for.
It's actually all the Herbalife I take.
That's too perfect.
Oh man, I feel like that's the way to wrap.
Yeah, that's a great way to end it. Yeah, Josiah, thank you so much for being on here, man, and sharing so much, being vulnerable. You're a great leader.
Thank you.
Of our group, great friend. And it's just amazing to see the Lord work in your life.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me. We'll do it again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. So that'll wrap this week's episode. We'll see you all next time.